Welcome to Lesson 2 of Bedroom Planning. Go ahead and open up DesignCAD. And for this lesson you need to find your bedroom plan practice drawing that you did. So you may need to browse for it. In this case I have it here listed, so I'm just going to double click on that and open up the practice bedroom plan that I created. For the second lesson on bedroom planning, we're going to be dimensioning the bedroom plan, and we're also going to be putting a title into it as well. So to begin, we're going to zoom out once. So click the negative zoom tool, and this allows us some extra space around the drawing. I'm also going to get rid of this ruler. Right click on the ruler and select ruler to get rid of it. This provides me with some extra space that I need to draw around the item. Your dimensioning tool is located above the letter T, and if you hold this down you can dimension quite a few different items. We are using the first option. This box pops up. Now this is probably the hardest part about dimensioning, is setting up the dimensioning tool. So I'm going to actually place this in the middle. All of our dimensions are going to be around the outside. We will not be putting any dimensions on the inside of the drawing. And when we apply dimensions, we're never to double dimension, and we try to only dimension on as few sides as possible. So you kind of have to plan out the dimension first. Now, to figure out what size of dimensions you need, you have to start dimensioning. So now that I have the tool selected, I'm going to right-click here and right-click here. And right away you can see a whole bunch of problems with this. I can see that my text is too big, my arrowheads are too big, my gap is too big, my overshoot is too big. Let's delete that. And this time when we select it, I'm going to reduce the sizes of my text first of all. So let's use a text size. Let's try 0.3. My format is going to be the last option, so that's good. Precision 0.01 is usually sufficient. Horizontal position center, vertical position centered, orientation normal, movement dimension line with text. Make sure the text offset is 0, and I'm on Arial font. Press save and close. Now click prefix and suffix. This should be none and none. Save, close. Arrowhead, I'm not sure what the arrowhead's going to be. Let's before we do anything, let's just get out of here and let's go and look at our dimension again to see if we were close with our text size. I'm happy with my text size being 0.3. That's a good size, but my arrowhead and gap and overshoot are too big. So as I'm trying to set my dimension sizes, I don't actually have to get out of it. I can go back over here, click on arrowhead, and often the size of your arrowhead will be the same as your text. So 0.3, we're going to try. Make sure width of the line is 0. Arrowhead type, I like the third one down, so I just scrolled up. 1, 2, 3. The fifth one down I like as well. Save, close, and now you can see that it made the changes. You can see also that the gap and overshoot are too big. So here's your gap and the overshoot, much too large. Okay, so I'm going to click the dimension tool again. Gap and overshoot are on my extension. So let's try that same trick. Let's try 0.3 and 0.3 and see what that looks like. Right click, right click. That's getting much closer to what I want. I've got a good arrowhead size, good text size, good gap, and good overshoot. So 0.3 was the magic number. I'm going to delete that because I want to place the dimension line. So this is the dimension line. This is called your extension line. This is your arrowhead, and this is your dimension text. Now your dimension line should be equal throughout the drawing, from your object line to the dimension line. Now, I think what I'm going to do is place this at 0.75. So 0.5 is the thickness of the exterior walls. 0.5 or would be a little bit close, maybe actually 0.6. So you can see that I'm choosing this as I go along. I'm going to try 0.6 away from my dimension line to the object line. So let's delete that. Now that we have all of the dimension settings set up, I can simply right-click, and press point relative. I'm going to try 0.6. So negative 0.6 because I'm moving left, so it's negative. 0 on the Y. Remember that this should always be last point. Press OK. And I like that. 0.6 from here to here provides sufficient room. My extension line does not touch the object, which is key. I'm happy with this. So let's go ahead. I'm going to scroll up a bit, move the object down, and I'm going to dimension the top. I do not dimension windows and doors. So I'm going to take and grab the dimension line, right-click. Now I want to move up 0.6, so I go point relative, 0, tab, 0.6. Enter. Beautiful. That's exactly where I want it. Now here's a trick. If I take and click, right-click, and if I simply right-click on this arrow, it will line up my dimensions, and that's exactly what I want to do. And then the final one, I can do the exact same thing. Right-click, and right-click. There we go. Now I do need an overall from this point to this point. So grab the dimension tool, right-click, and this time I'm going to double what I put in the y-axis. So instead of 0.6, I'm going to put in 1.2. So point relative, tab, 1.2 up, so it's positive on the y-axis, enter. And what that does is it gives me the dimension line 1.2 away from the object line. And it provides this as a 0.6 and this is a 0.6 distance. And it keeps it even. And that's what we like when we're dimensioning. Now, we do not need to dimension this side because we've already provided the dimension on this side. I'm going to scroll the object up and I can dimension the bottom. Dimension tool, right-click. I want to go down, so I put in point relative. On the Y, I want to get negative 0.6. Last point is selected. Press enter. Great. And one last dimension here, which I need. This one might be tricky. We'll see how it does it. Right-click. Oh, it worked out well, I think. I'm going to right-click, and it's small enough that the 8 goes in and it pushes my arrows to the outside. So that worked quite nicely. Okay, so that's how you dimension your bedroom plan. Now we need to indicate the windows, doors, and closet doors. So I'm going to fit the screen. And to do this, I grab the text tool. I put in, I'm just going to move this over here. Last thing we typed was fuel for some reason. Going to put in W1, so capital W1. And if I place this here way too big, let's try the same font size as the dimensions, 0.3. And I just place these manually a little bit closer to the drawing. If you place them here, it would be fine too, in line. Okay, I like to put them a little bit closer, but I will take either or. Click, and even if I tilt this around and I press enter, it'll go back to being straight. If you find that it's not exactly right, you can select and move it over a bit. So W1, now W2, over here, press enter, and you can see that it's the same as this. Closets are represented with a C, so we'll put in C. Oops, we want to capitalize that. All font is capitalized, C1, and I just place that in between the bifold doors. And last but not least, D1. And I'm going to place this one right here. Now, what this does is it refers to a window and door schedule later on in the set of blueprints where you get information about the windows, including the height, the width, and the type of window, whether it's a casement or an awning or maybe a slider. And same with the closets. So this sends you to the window and door schedule where it talks to you about the type of bifolds and the sizes and the door as well. So there it will tell you that this is a 2'8" door by probably 80 inches high, and the material it's made out of, and so forth. Now, the last thing we need to do is put a title and overall dimensions. So the title is with the text tool again, but this time I want to increase my size a little bit. So let's try 0.5. I'm not sure if that's the right size. I will know after I put in my title. Again, caps lock, bedroom. Oh, what happened? I must have clicked a quick tool, so I'm going to escape from that and try that again. There we go. Bedroom, plan, and I have 0.5. That seems to be a pretty good size, and I'm just going to put this a little bit above center and just visually center it. Press enter. Again, if you accidentally move your mouse, not a big deal. As soon as you press enter, it goes straight. If I was to click, left click in this position, it would stay crooked, but I'm just going to press enter and it will go straight. Underneath it, I can take and put in my overall sizes, which are 13 feet by 10. So I put in my horizontal by my vertical, and I just maintain that throughout a floor plan drawing. So I'm going to type that in, 13 feet, 0 inches. Make sure to use the proper format, feet and inches. X, capital X, 10 feet, 0 inches. Now I want this to be smaller. 0.3 might be fine for this. Let's see what that looks like. It's not bad. Let's see what 0.4 looks like. That's too close to the title size. I think I'm going to split the difference. 0.35. And again, I'm going to center this by eye and press enter. And that brings us to the end of lesson 2. Make sure you save this. File, save as. I'm just going to put a dimensioned bedroom plan practice dimensioned on the end of my file, but you do not need to do that. It just creates it as a separate file. And there you go. That brings us to the end of bedroom planning lesson 2.